my God, this is easy, you're right. So they founded the 10th Mountain Division. In order to get into it, in those days, you had to have 3 letters of recommendation. And so I got it from my minister, my ski instructor, and one of my teachers at Harvard. And I was accepted into it. I was thrilled.
So when it came to the war, you said, okay, there wasn't one event where you said, I gotta volunteer to do this. This was sort of, you know what, someone was kind of recruiting you in a way, I guess, for this particular the Mountain Division?
Many Knoll went from college to college and recruited everybody. The entire Dogma ski team, including its coaches of Walter Prager, who was a great skier, and Hans Schneider came from there. He's the guy who developed the kind of skiing we do today. But a lot of the famous skiers were in the mountain group because that was what they did. And one of my good friends was a guy named Torge Tokl. Torge Tokl was the international champion of ski jumping. And you know, that's a nasty, dangerous sport. But he was a world-class ski jumper and a champion.
So you must have been pretty good too if you're in with these guys.
I wasn't that good, but I could get around okay. I went skiing around New England, and that's what Minnie Dole was after. He wanted people who could ski. And so we went out to Camp Hale. Camp Hale is where we trained, and I've got a picture to show you later. And Camp Hale is at 10,000 feet. The Air Corps puts oxygen on at that height. We got acclimated, and we had training out there, and we did a lot of arduous things.
This is in Colorado, right?
In Colorado.
Yeah.
And the camp is no longer there. But one of our training areas is there with a memorial to the 1,000 dead we left in Italy. Out there, you can go and see it today. On the outskirts of Leadville. Leadville's the original silver mining town that has the original silver dollar bar with floors all silver dollars. It's everything. You can see that today.
Let me ask you about the training out there, because we've seen the pictures. You guys, as part of your training, you marched in skis?
No, it wasn't marching. We had maneuvers on skis, and some of them were very arduous. You'd be put out in the field. You were not allowed fires. It would be 30 below. You still had no fires, and you learned how to dig into the snow. A lot of these maneuvers were above tree line. And I mean, you know, to start at 10,000 feet, it's not very far up before there's no trees, no bushes, no anything, just snow.
Tell us what you looked like when you were training, how you were equipped. You carried a weapon on the back, is that right?
We had a rucksack and it had straps on it to carry your skis when you were walking. But the rest of it, you wore your skis. And you got to, but if you're on a road, you carried them on your back. In that rucksack, they have a little song about 90 pounds of rucksack, a pound of rubber too. He'll climb the mountains like your daddy used to do. So we had that, and we had camouflage suits. They were white on one side and green on the other. White for wintertime, green for the rest of it. So we trained very arduously, very difficult. I saw, for instance, it might be interesting to your audience, I saw Vail as a medal. But some of our people recognize Vail as a potential for a great ski area, bought the land from some ranch, and look what Vail is today.
The rest is history, I would say. You should have got on that one, Ken.
I wish I'd invested in it.
So tell me now, so you've trained in Colorado, now you guys are prepared, you're going over to Germany. Tell me what the mission was in Germany and what the conditions were like, and you know how you got to where you had to be.
Okay, well, the front that we were sent to was in Italy, and the Italian front had stalled. Above Florence, there's a chain of mountains in the Apennines, and this is anchored by one big mountain called Belvedere. And the Germans had put a line up there. The Americans had tried 4 times with flatland troops to get up there and take it. They couldn't break the German line. The Germans sat up there and plunked away at them, had a lot of casualties, and nobody ever got to the top. So they said, hey, bring the mountain troops over. That's what the hell they're trained for. That was exactly so. That was our kind of training and our kind of award. That's what we could do. So we went over there, and one night they put us in a little village down below, Belvedere, and this little village, and we would crowd a whole company of people in somebody's house, because they didn't want to be seen during the next day. The next day we stayed undercover. That night we went up Riva Ridge. Riva Ridge is part of Belvedere, but it commands Belvedere. It must be taken before you can dare work Belvedere, otherwise they'll punk you off on Belvedere. So we're the ones, we're the troops, and it was only one battalion, and my company was one of the ones that went up Riva Ridge. So it's a famous battle in World War II, and it's been on television several times, and I'm trained to be one of the first ones to get to the top of Riva Ridge. We had to go up over sheer cliffs as part of it, so it was not an easy climb. And we went up at night, so no flashlights or anything like that. So when we got to the top, want me to tell you?
Yeah, I'm listening, yeah.
When we got to the top, it was a total surprise. The Germans never thought we could get up there. They didn't know we were there. They didn't know they were looking at mountain troops, but they were mountain troops. They knew what they were doing.
So when you got there, the element of surprise, did that work? Did you capture, was there any,
They were totally surprised. And I'll tell you my one story about the futility of war. I'm a sergeant, and one of my guys said to me, at the top, he says, "Sarge, look over there. See that little smokestack sticking out of the snowbank? They must have a hut down in there." I'm like, "Sure must." They did. So the Germans have a hut up there. So I said, "Well, you can speak a little German. Tell them to give up and come out." And instead of hearing them talking to us, we heard bolts clicking, click, click. They're coming out firing. So I took the grenade and I dropped the grenade down the smokestack. My God, it didn't hurt us so, but it went off inside their hut, and it blew the stove, blew the potbelly stove, all to pieces. And there's cinder and smoke and cinders and coals and everything blowing around inside. So they all got out choking, and they all came out and gave up. I think it was 8 guys. And one of them, which we didn't recognize at the time because he had no insignia, was actually the captain in charge of the whole place. And
so that was a big get.
Yeah.
I mean, that was,
So let me tell you the end of that story. 50 years later, I'm at a reunion of the 10th Mountain Division in their present camp, which is Fort Drum, New York. And we went up there for a reunion. Now this German captain had been looking all this time for our medic. Why? Because when we were up there, we had a lot of casualties because they kept counterattacking and trying to take us back. And we kept holding them off, and we killed a number of them. They killed a number of us. Many of my friends died up there. But anyhow, he was appreciative of our medic, of our company medic. His name is Shoelace, we called him, because he had treated the German soldiers and our people. And so he wanted to thank him. And he took all that time to locate him, and he came to that reunion with one of his friends as a translator.
Sure.
And they sat us at a table, and I didn't know this guy at all. And so we sat us at a table with a couple of German people, because they said, "Well, you get along, you know what's going on." This guy, and I said, "Well, what were you in the war?" And he says, "I was the mountain troops." I said, "Well, where the hell were you? In Italy?" He said, "Well, where?" He said, "I was on Riva Ridge." I said, "No, you're kidding." I said, "Well, what happened here?" He said, "Some jerk dropped a grenade down us, so we had to give up." And here we are, 50 years later, smiling at each other, arms around each other, old mountain troops, sort of like
you have that bond in spite of,
But he was there with our medic, and he wanted to make sure he thanked him for that.
Yeah.
So that's my story about Riva Ridge.